What's up guys? Today we've got something really fun, which is we are going to review my THL match for this week, which was actually a decider for our playoff match against another team. Even better, this match was commentated live on stream, and it was a super fun match to play. I still haven't seen most of the commentary from our match, and I'm super excited to give my own commentary over the commentator's commentary. Of course, if you like this sort of video, make sure to support it and check me out on Twitch. And without further ado, let's get right into it.
Now we go to our next match.
There it goes. Final match determines, as we were saying, this quarterfinal matchup. It does not matter at this rate how many they win by. It's just who wins. If Snake Fods wins, that's it. And Simp's going to go on. If Power Creep with, I guess, HSK, I don't know what we're calling. I'm calling him Junior. That's what it's going to be for this cast.
ABCD, yep.
Yeah. If he wins, Power Creep go on. So, I mean, it's going to be it's a photo finish here, right? So, quick rundown through the decks. We have Junior, which is what I'm calling him now, is actually running more of a Reno lineup. He's got the combo Reno Priest. He's got the Big Shaman. So, you know, that's a staple. We're going to see more of those beautiful walking fountains. You've got a Reno Cube Warlock. And then you've got that Reno Mage.
Yeah, so the commentators on this one were a bit unfamiliar with Wild, but they did a great job of trying their best to explain what was going on. So the tuna lineups we have is basically an all-control lineup versus an all-aggro lineup. Typically, that's almost always going to benefit the all-control lineup. I got my lineup from Memnarch this week, and it was definitely what I was looking for against my opponent's 4 aggro decks. We've got Darkglare Warlock, Odd Rogue, Aggro Druid, and Galakron Warrior versus my triple Reno decks plus Big Shaman, and Big Shaman, especially this version, targets aggro pretty hard. And the only thing I'm scared about here is basically Darkglare blowing me out with Loatheb, and I don't have anything to counter their giant board. Counterintuitive to some, I banned Darkglare even though the Galakron Warrior can shuffle bombs and disable my Reno decks. The Big Shaman has a very favorable matchup into the Galakron Warrior, and also the way my Reno Lock and Reno Mage are built, I can still win pretty easily a decent percentage of the time versus Galakron Warrior. And additionally, with the way Conquest works, sometimes one deck, it's okay for it to beat you as long as you know that you're really never going to lose the other 2 matchups, and I felt pretty good with my lineup having Aggro Druid and Odd Rogue into everything else.
So, interesting decks there. And coming out for Snake Fods, you're going to see not the Odd Warrior, as I was so incorrectly doing last time. It's actually a Galakron Warrior, like a pirate Galakron Warrior. You're going to see the Aggro Druid. You're going to see actually the Double Giant Warlock. And then at the end of that, you are going to see an Odd Rogue, Odd Weapon Rogue. So pretty interesting matchups here.
I'm scared to see those Highlander type lists there for Jake. I think that's his online BattleNet name is Jake, so we'll...
Jake? All right, we're going with Jake. Perfect. We'll go with Jake.
For first. So.
Jake from State Farm.
Yeah.
Oh, Jack. It's Jack.
Jack, there you go. Sorry.
Jack. It's a jackal. All right, Jack. I see you, bud.
Sorry, Jack. Correct yourselves.
We do have bans coming in on the side of Jack, so that's for Power Creep. You do have him banning the Warlock out of Snake Fods. So Snake Fods will not be playing that... giant Warlock, and Snake Fods is actually banning the Combo Priest from Jack, so that is gone for him.
Like I said, this was definitely the ban that made sense for me, and banning the Priest was absolutely the right call for him. Even though the Galakron Warrior can sometimes win against the Priest, the rest of his decks absolutely hate it, and the Priest doesn't mind it as much as you would think. This was the right call by both parties.
You do have a decent way to fight the board with your Haggatha schemes and with your Maelstroms, but I don't know if those are strong enough, especially with the explosive starts that these Druids can get, especially with Gibberings and Embiggen and all that great stuff. It's tough to say what they bring out right off the bat. You can honestly see the Warrior come out. I think that might be the Shaman's best matchup is against that Warrior. I don't know if it has, but it's got the bombs, the Galakron. It's an interesting deck. These are going to be a tough ones for that Shaman to win, I think. Oh, I gotta restart. Apparently, the game hates me. Game, why do you hate me? Love me game. Be right back.
Side effects? No. Trust me.
So right away, one thing I did is I decided to play the Mistress on 1 instead of the Felbolt. I think that the Mistress fighting for board is better, and usually the 1 attack is going to get healed by the Mistress, so trading on board made more sense here.
Lifebinder.
All right. So we have Warrior.
Alright, Jack, let's spectate you, buddy.
Big rush from the Warrior.
Let him spectate here.
For which one?
So one thing to notice here is that my opponent actually runs 2 Broomstick in their Galakron Warrior, and I think that's a bit of a problem. So you'll notice that he just didn't find tempo off of Town Crier, and because he didn't find any tempo off of it, he doesn't really have anything to do in these early turns. Usually a 1-drop that draws, you want it to draw into something that you can curve out, and Scion usually curves out, or kinda curves out, because it has advanced tempo for its mana cost, but in this case he just got Broomstick and it really hurt him.
It's, I'm just gonna have to restart again. It's not letting me spectate Jack first.
I expected Scion, but Broomstick is pretty good too, because it means you just get the 2/6 straight up.
Comes out. Doesn't draw what he was hoping, so. Which I'm sure was something else besides a broom.
And no need to clear
I
it
think it was a broom. Yeah.
if it's just a 1/1.
Wrench Caliber coming out. Poking the dirty rats. Bomb thrown in the deck. Sure about the Kazakhs play, but I guess it's not sure what this matchup's all about.
This matchup is definitely about playing your golden cards when you can, and he's about to disable them next turn unless I draw a bomb, so playing Kazakhs now when it's the only turn that I can play it makes total sense.
It's very weird. It's not giving me the spectate option for him.
Huh. Maybe just message him.
Yeah, see if you can invite me to spectate.
Yep.
Alright, sorry about this, guys.
Snake Fog set up N'Zoth's first mate in a Devoted Maniac. And now it's Jack's turn. Here's a Zilliax Brute. Bump the
Versus a board like this, and especially the 1-attack weapon, Zilliax felt like the best way to fight for health total, which is a great way to beat bombs. As long as you draw them just 1 by 1, gaining health over the course of the game is exactly how you beat them.
maybe.
Oh no. Don't worry, I'm in.
I think we're okay. There's a bomb drawn. And N'Zoth drawn.
Oh, alright. Things have happened in this game. Ooh, Karhoot Defender is extremely nice.
Kartoot with N'Zoth in hand, and also Deathlord and potentially the Kazakhs potion coming down, a bunch of taunts is all you need to beat this deck, because the bombs themselves, especially after you've drawn 1 of 2, are not going to kill you. And it turns out his hand was about as bad as it could have possibly been.
So many cards.
Trying to catch up here. Yeah, so Deathlord is actually pretty interesting. I mean, obviously it doesn't die, but it does just save you from taking a ton of damage.
Yeah. Unless Warriors figure out a way to put Kane in their
Ooh,
deck.
Rush. A Rush minion. What are the Rush minions? He's got the Alexstrasza Champion.
So even though my opponent draws the Scion here, Deathlord is still a great play, and the Kazakhs res wouldn't have been bad. It's definitely good tempo, except it draws cards which could potentially be a bomb, and I really don't need any more cards right now. And also, Kartoot is going to die twice, which is fantastic for my res pool. So in this case, I would rather wait for Kartoot to res my minions, because once Deathlord, Kartoot, and Zilliax are dead, that res is going to be a lot better when I wait.
Oh no, the other Scion. And that actually gives him full. So he's going to be able to
Poke through.
He won't be able to get through the Dead Lord this turn. Oh yeah, summons 3, so no, he won't. Oh yeah, he will. I'm a liar. I forgot he could hero power. That's a thing. So he's just going to hold a Scion of Ruin there, just to push that damage next turn.
And of course, Willow right off the top is basically game winning. Though I wasn't in bad shape before this, of course, this definitely ended it.
Ooh, that actually very big draw here. Don't think Snake Fog is going to be able to. That's a lot of taunts, and that's just going to make more taunts. Oh, well, I mean, that's going to help get through, but it's not going to really get you where you need to be.
Poke that.
Yeah. You could trade everything into the void and then trade off the Scion of Ruin. You could Scion again and kill all these 1/3s. Leave one up on board.
Pretty uphill battle for these there.
Yeah, that's a lot. I mean, those are kind of what the Scions are in there for. So.
And of course, Coin N'Zoth is pretty game winning. There are more greedy lines, but there's no need when this just straight up wins the game. And I also throw in the emote just to let my opponent know, hey, it's probably time to concede now, and it works just fine.
Of annoyances. And that Alex Strauss champion is not going to get him there.
Jack with the win.
Yeah, it actually gets that warrior through. So, interesting enough, that was, the bomb warrior going into a Reno deck, right? You don't really think about that, but didn't actually need it. The power level of Wild just gets you there when you don't need those bigger cards. You don't even see Dragon Queen in here really often enough, right? So, we are going to actually see the Shaman, the big Shaman coming up against these odd Rogue.
None will survive.
So this Shaman versus Odd Rogue game is actually really interesting.
Very heavy hand for Snake Fods.
Mm-hmm.
So right off the bat, I decided to keep Maelstrom Portal and Walking Fountain. Big Shaman is one of the decks where you do want your big guys in hand, so Walking Fountain obviously benefits against a deck that wants to lower our health total. And you'll notice that turn 2 right here, I actually have the opportunity to play Muckmorpher right away, and I decided not to. The thing is, there are a lot of Muckmorpher high rolls. Yashraj, Scrapyard of Colossus are insane, but you can roll Muckmorpher and Walking Fountain as well, which are really bad. And in this case, I didn't want to take the risk, not because I didn't have good follow-up, which I had good enough follow-up, but that I could rather use it if I just curved Muckmorpher into Eureka. I know that I would absolutely have a blowout play, especially with this removal in hand.
He does still have the coin if he does need to do anything the turn afterwards. Gonna start firing some damage to the face. Yashraj Unbound drawn into hand, so I think he wants to start emptying his hand of minions for these Eurekas.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Muckmorpher. You never want a Eureka and Muckmorpher. It is upsetting. He could hold off one more turn, which, yeah, looks like he will. I think it's better that way. It does give yourself more flexibility. Just to coin.
Feed the fish.
Big buck in a year.
Unfortunately, my opponent drew about as bad as they possibly could have. In this case, playing a 1-drop into a 3-drop, and it's just not good. The lackeys don't really help. Vilespine is good, but Vilespine is only good as a tempo follow-up. In this case, I can just use the coin on Muckmorpher, and I can play whatever I want next turn without a big loss. In this case, I get Walking Fountain, which is mostly a low roll, and it's still okay because of it.
Friday Night Fight quarterfinal matchup without seeing a beautiful Walking Fountain.
Yep. I think every match that the Shaman's been in has been featured.
Unfortunately, the spectators had a bit of a problem spectating. Thank you, Hearthstone. So we'll skip ahead to when they return in the action. What happened is I decided to play a Serpent Shrine portal and a Maelstrom portal on the Dr. Krasnov that he played, and used to clear my board with the rush and the weapon. The Maelstrom portal gave me the 2-1, and then he decided to play Jandis and clear the other minion that I got off the Serpent Shrine portal.
Many a thing, many a much things. So I'm going to assume that Fiery Bat was from a Netherwing portal, or a Maelstrom portal. Ooh, look at them totems.
Look at all them totems.
Look at all them totems. Oh, Hench Clan Thug. What a throwback. Decrease is pretty nice. Yeah.
Draconic Lackey to come down.
I think opponent could have played a little more aggressively by playing the Spy Mistress. It definitely would have been more of a problem for me and forced me to more immediately deal with the board.
Drake. Nope.
Oh, Brightwing. Drake's such a good card. Like, just a solid 5/4, 5-mana 4/4, like, draw card. Like, it's just silly. Eureka! Josh Raj. I think he might have rathered a Walking Fountain there.
Got one.
We do see one, but unfortunately, that can't attack right off the bat. So, I mean, Snake Fods is gonna trade in because he does have the Vile Spine in hand. Easy enough to combo with it. Interesting to... Whoa, you taking damage here, buddy? Yeah, actually putting his Hench Clan into this Walking Fountain. Yeah, he's gotta make a little more board space. There we go. Whew. Would have been the end of the world.
Combo.
Could have traded into the Yad Shiraj anyway.
In the
Just saw the
Yep.
Vinyl Slayer.
Ah! There's that Vinyl Vine Slayer taking down that Yad Shiraj. So, actually, this Taunt Totem is pretty key.
So this hand I can either play Walking Fountain or I can play Lightning Bloom into Yashiraj. And the thing is, Walking Fountain isn't that good because it doesn't heal health that's missing. I'm not going to die next turn, and Yashiraj has a pretty good chance, I believe 2 and 3 to pull the Scrapyard Colossus instead of the Muck Morpher. And that 2 and 3 is pretty much worth it in this case because the Scrapyard Colossus was game ending, and the Muck Morpher wasn't necessarily game ending for me because he had to do so much to clear a 10-10 on this board.
You might just want a Farsight. Oh, we're just gonna Yashiraj. So he does have those Colossuses, and yeah, there's one of those Scrapyard Colossus right there.
Colossi.
We have Colossi.
Mm-hmm.
No Vile Spine. So to deal with the first part of that Colossus. Yeah, like, wow. Just smacked my face into that.
I think Deep Freeze from the opponent was probably not that good. You probably should be looking for a Vile Spine here. I believe there's one more left. Or just something in the deck, maybe second Wand Thief, to actually deal with this Yashiraj. Because if I pull another minion from deck, I mean, you are in big trouble.
Is there any healing from the side of... No.
Negative on that particular.
No healing. So that, just kind of tells me that Snake Mod realizes there's...
And with the draw of Muck Morpher, Scrapyard Colossus is 100% the only minion left in the deck. So Muck Morpher is insane, and that's why I decided to go with Muck Morpher instead of Vivid Spores, which was probably winning too, by the way.
He's getting to the point where he can't take any more. We're going to see a Muck Morpher come down. Probably going to get another Colossus here. That is correct.
The elements.
Ooh, little spice.
Yep. A little bit of this.
And
little bit of
final Colossus coming out here for Jack. So Snake Fuzz is in a awkward phase. He can freeze the board, right?
Here for the tour?
Secret Passage to dig 4. I'm assuming
Another Slayer.
Vile Spine, yeah. Wand Thief will actually get him some stuff. Valpyra, yeah, that's Frozen Astral Rift, is there digging 2 random minions? Those minions, no.
Negative on that.
Wow,
particular.
there it is. After I, talk a little smack about that shaman. Yeah, so Snakeflaws knows what he has to play, and he's gonna bring out the aggro Druid. Now, just to remind everyone, if Jack does win this one, that does win it for power creep.
So this was not the most perfect hand versus aggro druid, but one thing that I have is Zeph. And Zeph, when used properly, can sometimes be all you need in a matchup because he takes back board for just 1 turn, and keeping that board for the rest of the game is pretty much a winning strategy.
They will be moving on to the semifinals for the Wild playoffs. So
Right.
this is all or nothing for Snakefods.
Snakefods has to do the reverse sweep.
No, yes, he does have to do the sweep. Sorry, I forgot we were watching another match.
Yep, Snakefods has to win.
So coin Zephyrs into backstab makes a ton of sense here. Unfortunately, he was unable to explode on board turn 1, which is usually the way we would lose this matchup. And Dirty Rat next turn doesn't look fantastic, except for the fact that we have a 3-2. And sometimes that 3-2 hits something with 1 attack that's really strong, and you'll see that's exactly what happens here.
He does have Zola the Gorgon, so he could choose that way. He does choose to make 2.
I ain't talking.
Ooh, Dirty Rat coming out. Does hit one of the Voracious Readers, but there is a second one in the hand for Snakefods, and he top decks the Leather Living Roots, so he does get the other Voracious Reader down here, I would assume. That does allow him to draw 2 more cards, big cards too.
So with the Flame Ward draw, this game is basically over. Of course, we have to continue playing it out, but he has no readers left because I'm able to trade with the Zeph. He gets some 1/1s on board, but I'm able to play minions that are just good into them, and not even the double buff can counteract that. Greeting the Flame Ward is the best way to win at this point because I can force him to go all in with his cards, rather than clearing this board and then being subject to another board later that I don't have a clear for. One thing I decided to do is I decided to play Polkelt next turn. It doesn't immediately trade into anything, but I can reduce the board such that I'm not too worried about Savage Roar, and then I can even use my pings and minion trades to make sure that Flame Ward is going to clear future boards. Especially with both buffs gone, it's not super likely that he draws another, and if he does draw 1 more, I still have outs, versus if he draws 2 more, then I'm in trouble. But given no Voracious Readers and 2 buffs gone, he's not likely to draw 2, maybe just 1 and Savage Roar, which this plays around perfectly.
And then you Lunas, you're actually drawing your high end for 1. Now you are gonna. He's gonna have some pretty unplayable cards for the next,
2 turns.
2 or 3 turns. Yeah.
But he does have Flame Ward at least to help staunch the bleed.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking to use Savage Roar here. Battlecry cost minions cost 2 or more, so yeah.
10 to the face. There's Frostlich.
I would assume a Flame Ward to come out here. Yeah.
So in this situation, I realized that I can actually just tempo out Bran, and my opponent is super scared of it. Bran is a card that nobody likes to see left up, and if he is forced to leave it up, then in that case I can just use Bran to trade, which it's also pretty good for as a 2/4. Fortunately, even with tap, he doesn't manage to find anything, and from here I'm only 2 turns away from drawing either Reno Relicologist or Reno Jackson. Given my health total and the fact that he only has a few minions and 1 Savage Roar left in deck, either Reno wins me the game, and you'll see that's exactly what happens.
Now we're gonna see the Flame Ward coming out.
Bran. That's interesting.
So unfortunately, these spectators had a spectator glitch, but as you can see, the opponent just didn't top deck anything in time that was valuable against me, and I actually drew Reno Relicologist first. As I cleared the board, the game was then over and my opponent conceded, meaning that I won the series 3-0. This was not an unexpected result, and not due to poor play by Snakefods. I think pretty much all the time he made the correct decision, but this is the drawback of bringing an aggro lineup in a competitive format. You just don't oftentimes have the choice to play better or outplay your opponent. You are just totally at the mercy of the cards that you draw in the games. I don't like that, and I'm glad that I usually bring control lineups because it allows me the opportunity to outplay my opponent, and it also allows me the same opportunity for my opponent to low roll if they're bringing aggro decks. I hope you liked seeing some commentary on these games with the perspective of also seeing what my opponent had in hand, and the element of having live spectators who are neither me nor my opponent. I don't play on stream too often, but if I am playing on stream again, let me know if you'd like to see more of this content. And again, make sure to support the video and subscribe to the channel if you like the sort of videos I've been putting out. Thanks guys, and I'll see you on ladder.